after doing that show for a few months, you just learn to laugh at things a little bit more, things that might have like broken you in the past. You just really look them in the eye and laugh. It's the only thing you can do. And honestly, Cal, I don't know that I would have done that with certain things in life had I not lived it there.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody gonna cue me or do I cue myself?
Cue yourself.
Okay. Hey everyone, welcome back. We are here with another episode of Let's Talk Off Camera, so let's get talking. Okay, now listen to this. Listen to this. We have a newcomer on the scene. Mm-hmm. I hear big things. Okay?
It's promising.
Our guest today is going to dazzle us. He's a very requested guest on this here humble podcast.
Highly requested.
Highly. I mean, behind Madonna, who was our first most requested guest, and my daughter Lola.
He's number three.
He's number three. He's number three. He's number three. But before we get to him, I just want to say one thing. Congratulations to Jan Chalet, or as we call her at work, Captain Underpants.
We did?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not here yet.
No,
Sorry.
You can come in, Ryan, because Jan
I'm
Chalet,
waiting. I'm
she
watching.
set a Guinness World Record for, are you ready? The most underpants put on in 1 minute by a pair of two people. Now, if you had told me that Jan broke the record for taking off the most underpants in under a minute, because I don't know if you know this, Ryan, Jan was very slutty in college.
I wasn't around. And Jan, I thought you also did the sweater record.
We only broke that record because you two were not doing well breaking it. So we were showing you how it was done and we broke it. So we thought, wow, that was easy.
In our defense, Ryan and I are not used to dressing ourselves. So, you know, you're asking two people, you're asking crawlers to sprint a marathon, basically, and we crawl.
Yeah, and Ryan wasn't used to those, like, touching those kinds of sweaters.
You saw what happened. Mark also. Mark's body collapsed when you asked him to wear synthetic. He
still has a rash.
He still has a rash. His body is covered in a rash.
Anyway, it was fun. It was all good fun.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The most underpants put on. How many pairs did you get?
We got 22.
22, but you really put on 27, I feel
25.
Like. 25.
Yeah.
But why did Michael Emprick take away a couple?
Because some of the waistbands weren't pulled up properly, and I think Michael was just trying to give us a hard time.
Michael Emprick is the judge, the official Guinness Book of World Records judge, just for you listening.
Thank you.
Just so you know.
Pipe down, Ryan.
I'm just here for context.
We're not asking you to do the color commentary.
Filling in the holes.
Okay?
It's very difficult to sit here quietly.
I know. I can't wait. Should we bring him in?
Yeah.
I am
Come on.
enjoying.
I mean-
I'm watching. wasting his time is really
He's not used to
exciting for
his
me.
time being wasted.
He's just sitting there. He's got a gym appointment
where
to
are
get
we in the
to.
window today?
He's got olives to milk.
Is the window
Does
open?
not have time for this bullshit. All right, well let's get to it. I'm gonna read this prepared statement, even though I didn't think that Jan needed to write a statement, but I'm gonna read it. Our next guest needs no introduction, damn it. I was lucky enough to work for him. Yes. I was lucky enough to work for him for 6 years as his cultural attaché and his executive assistant. And I was even more lucky to call him my friend. Apparently we are.
Yeah,
no
what's with the past tense?
Yes.
Jan.
I
Yes.
didn't write that. She's
No,
reading
I'm
it.
just reading. I'm just misreading it. I took my glasses off because I wanted to look cute. We've been friends for how long? My God.
I think over 2 decades.
Yeah, well over 2 decades.
Yeah.
Let's just bring him in, the hardest working man in show business, Ryan Seacrest.
It was so nice to have you as an assistant, Kelly, for all those 6 years.
You're welcome.
I mean, that's how I looked at it.
I thought of you. I think I was your medical attaché at some point.
You know what? I was thinking about this actually knowing that we were going to talk. I remember when I first moved to New York, you gave me the book of menus and takeout food and restaurants like of the neighborhood. And you also gave me a list of doctors and said that you've vetted them all. Mm-hmm. You've got them all on speed dial. And at that point in my young life, I thought, well, I don't need that. But okay, sure. I thought, a little strange that you were giving me a list of doctors. Now, as I approach 49, I'm using that list of doctors. And thank you. If I haven't thanked you before, thank you.
You are most welcome. And let's just congratulate you for not needing doctors until you turn 49.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, you've got some real niche ones, though. So,
Oh, I've got a doctor for
yeah, you've
every-
got niche.
I
Yeah,
mean,
you've got subcategories.
When people text me and they say, "Do you have a good dermatologist?" I say, "What specifically do you want to treat?"
What's the thing you send me pictures of? Fraxel?
Fraxel, yes. Oh, it's my
Okay.
favorite. It's my favorite non-invasive thing.
I have lived through images of your procedures over 2 decades. Actually, it got to be a little bit more frequent when we were working together. But
That's when I really started needing all the surgeries and shit. So,
well, I guess as time went by, the frequency increased. But I really got to see it all go down.
yeah.
I mean, that's the relationship that we had and have.
I know. I haven't had. Here's the thing: since I've stopped working with you, I haven't had a single cosmetic procedure. So there's been nothing.
Oh, I don't know what that says.
No, I think you know what it is. You should only work with people your own age. Anybody 4 years younger than you or younger than that. Suddenly I look like the crypt keeper. Now with Mark there, I look age appropriate.
A good rule of thumb.
So, okay. So explain to me now what it was like for you to actually have time off and concentrated time off.
For the first time, I had the opportunity to have a little flexibility over the summer vacation. I'd never had, we've always had, with my schedule, your schedule together, or before we worked together, we've always had very finite amounts of time to rush a break and then get back to work. This time, I had the flexibility, and it was great. Now, I thought at one point, Kelly, I'm just going to tell you, I thought at one point I was going to get bored. I never did. I could vacation for the rest of my life. And I think when you do this at some point, you will be exactly like me. Mm-hmm. You will feel the same way.
I always say this, and you'll remember, I said it to Mark, and you'll know that I've said it to you like 6 years in a row, where I said, the first day back at work is like we've never, ever worked in show business before.
Yeah.
Cameras fall over, the sound doesn't happen, people aren't cueing the guests to come on. We're sitting there unsure of how to speak in public. And it is like, it's alarming when you just even have a short break. And I don't think people realize, like, our show live shoots much more than all the other entertainment talk programs.
And you told me that coming in.
Yeah.
We joke that I didn't know that when I started,
right.
but you called me, and I remember I was sitting at my desk in my house it was like 11:02 my time, and you were in between school things, and you said, I'm just going to tell you, all right? This is the way it is. Just know what you're getting into, because it's not like other shows. And it's not. It's like, the pros and the cons, right? There's a lot of shows to do, but there's no other show that feels like live with the family of people. There really isn't.
Do you miss it? Do you miss you can be totally honest.
I always say the hour we're on the air is the best. It is so much fun. It's electric. It's magical. It's so spontaneous. I didn't believe I had heard about, the stories, Kelly, before I got there, that, you and whomever you are with, you don't speak beforehand. You go out and you just do it, and it comes together. And that's terrifying to think about if you've never done that before. And I was terrified about that because I had never done it before. On the radio, sure, but it's different when you're on television and it's 9 o'clock and it's go time. And it's true, we would quickly say hi and grab each other's hands and go. What about you and Mark? Do you do the same now?
Yeah, it's exactly the same. You and I think, had the most conversations of any co-host I've ever had backstage. As much as they tried to keep us separate.
Keep us apart.
I kept saying, guess what? Ryan and I are friends. We have a relationship, and we can actually recreate this moment on camera.
On air.
And it's fine. It's one of those ludicrous things where they feel like, and I think it goes back to, and I don't know if you listened to the episode where I interviewed Gelman.
It's my favorite episode where he tells us, the listener, he says, there are no new ideas in TV.
Yes.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant.
Because he's constantly telling us all the new ideas he's come up with. It's
Right.
like shocking.
For the new season, guess what? There's a new mug.
Right. So
There's a new mug.
There's a new mug. But I told every staff member, I go, okay, you should all listen to this because that's just the way it was always done. That's the way they always did it. So the fact that you and I would communicate off camera or behind the scenes or before the show or after the show, or we would see each other out of work, sent everyone into a tailspin. Like, don't you agree?
Yeah, I do. And Jan, I mean, I don't know if you agree or not because you were part of, I don't know if you were part of the panic, but there was definitely some panic about, hey, don't ruin the gold before the two of you get out there.
I would always say, save it for the show. Save it for the show.
Save it for the show. Well, we can, as Kelly said, we are capable of recreating that moment again. It's not that difficult, right? What'd you do? I did this. Great. We can recreate that.
Right.
It's some of the language we used probably before the show
That's right.
Capable of that, not capable of putting on sweaters, but capable.
Oh, wow.
Excuse us. We're trained broadcasters.
We're trained
Not
broadcasters.
dressers.
We don't dress
Not
ourselves.
wardrobe specialist.
Yeah,
Okay.
you guys help us get dressed because you're pushing us around.
Okay, enough about live because that is in your rear view mirror. You said your goodbyes.
Did it?
You've forgotten. I mean, just when you came back a couple of weeks ago, you came back to the show, and I saw you looking at everyone with a faint familiarity, like a person with amnesia. You were like, "Oh, hello."
Who is that holding the
who is
date cards?
Yeah,
is
that's
that
Schul-
it's
Schulweiss.
Schulweiss.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, so moving on, I suspected when we heard Pat Sajak was stepping down from Wheel of Fortune, I was like, that is a Ryan Seacrest jam if ever there was one.
Yeah.
There is only one person that can do that job who isn't Pat Sajak, and that is Ryan Seacrest. Because when you think about, like, there's like Merv Griffin, right? There's Pat Sajak, there's Alex Trebek, there's Dinah Shore. There's like a handful of like the greats. And if you put them in a blender and you blended them all together, who do we get? We get young Seacrest, right?
Get green smoothie. Well, do you remember? So, first of all, I still can't believe I'm going to be able to take over for the legend that is Pat and work with Vanna.
And work with Vanna, which makes me
And
so happy.
work with Vanna White. Like the two of us are going to walk out on that stage and say, let's go. Makes me so happy too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's such a part of our lives, isn't she? I mean, you think about Americana and you think about comfort and you think about these franchises. She's such a staple for all of us.
She is, and thank you for acknowledging that because I think that gets lost in the shuffle that like what she does, you know it better than anyone. When you make something look easy, people think it's easy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so people just think that she just walks around touching things and it's easy. There's a whole thing that goes on behind the scenes. And I was so glad to see that she was going to stick around with you because I think also Pat Sajak is one of the kindest people in broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of like, if they didn't hire you, who would they hire? And what if they hired somebody that wasn't kind like you are, like he is?
But you talk about Merv Griffin, and I remember, Kelly, you know some of the stories, but I remember when I worked for him, and he owned the Beverly Hilton Hotel, and every day they would set out a lunch buffet, a lunch bar of sliced meats.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, artichoke hearts that were marinated in this olive oil. And there was a big bowl of olives. Anyway, it was all you could eat. And I was a young kid, and I was working for him. And every now and then he'd say, come over to Griff's for the buffet.
No, but do it as Merv.
Oh, yeah. Come over to, Ryan, that's potpourri. Those aren't mixed nuts. That's the potpourri. I can't do it. But
you can
in my
do it.
head,
It's
it sounds
amazing.
perfect. So anyway, I would go over to Griff's at the Beverly Hilton Hotel when I was just starting out hosting kids' game shows. And I would meet with him, and I'd get the free lunch, which I loved, right? So I was eating more sliced meats at the time. But seriously, to the point of Wheel of Fortune, I remember vividly sitting around the table outside on the patio by the pool at the Beverly Hilton Hotel where he told me how and when he created Wheel of Fortune. And it was off of this simple game we played in school, Hangman. And he just built the wheel, added the wedges, and thought, what's better than giving away cash to people every single night? And that's the simplicity of what Wheel of Fortune is.
Amazing. That's an amazing story. And as an aside, a lot of our listeners don't know that Ryan has since purchased the Beverly Hills Hotel and turned it into his own private home. Isn't that confirm or deny?
It's not true. If you've heard that, it's not true. It's
Maybe
not true.
Did I start that rumor?
I think you started that
okay.
rumor.
You know me, it's
But
like
wouldn't
as
that be
long
nice?
as I say things enough, because I learned this from Ryan. I learned this from Regis, that if you say things enough, it doesn't matter if it's not true, it becomes true. Like, hence your butler.
What's his name?
Alfred the butler.
Honestly, so Kelly starts the thing on live that I have this guy that lives with me, a butler named Alfred, who comes up from the subterranean levels of the earth.
From your cave where you live.
Right.
Alfred wanted me to
because-
tell you that he's pissed that you moved Aubrey in and fired him.
Alfred is feeling
Alfred
it.
is pissed.
Is he sensitive?
He's very sensitive.
So Alfred's this fictional character, but it became so funny. It was one of those things, Kelly, that when we were hosting the show together, you know how there were just those buttons that could make us laugh, even like just really laugh, lose it
all I
laugh.
have to say to you is Alfred.
The second you even opened your mouth for the A of Alfred, I lost it. I would lose it. I could see it. I could feel it coming. I could see it coming. And you would like shake your knees under the table, like, like this. And I knew it was coming.
Because I'm I feel like I'm at one point your older sister / your mom, but at the same time, I'm also like a 12-year-old boy. So like anytime I'm like, I'm going to pretend that Ryan has a butler named Alfred again.
Right. But it's the body, it's the body vibration I can feel under that desk that it's coming. And it made me laugh and lose it so many times. It's priceless.
So now Tanya, your co-host on the radio, just got engaged. Congratulations.
She
yes.
did. Yes. Tanya Rad. Congratulations. Tanya and Robbie.
Yep. Now, do you have to pay for the wedding?
So I don't think that that's part of the role as host of the radio show. But they did say to me, Kelly, I got a text and they said, Robbie and I would like to talk to you in person and ask you a question. And I don't know what the question is, but I guess it has to do with the wedding.
I bet maybe they're going to ask you to perform the ceremony.
So what would that?
So
now,
you have to
I have
register
never had a wedding.
You have to register at the Universal Life Ministries
to officiate.
Yes, I've officiated weddings. I'm going to.
So you're ordained. What are
yes.
you ordained?
Yes. It's basically paperwork.
So there's not a test.
There's not a test. There's paperwork. So if Vanna needs a personal day, Vanna has a sick day, will you bring Connie Seacrest in to flip the letters?
So if she has to take a day, would mom come in? Mm-hmm. You think?
I see it.
Connie Seacrest?
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. I thought where you were going was, could you come and do it? That's what I thought you were going to ask.
No,
I thought you were going to, because I know how much you want to add to your plate. So I thought.
You know how bad I am at spelling. I mean, the only person worse at spelling
it's me.
is you.
It's the great irony.
I know.
No, I'm glad you pointed that out to me, because I have been saying to people after you said that, wow, Kelly reminded me how I am. I have gotten to be such a bad speller, and my phone has made it worse. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be the biggest test will be for me to try and spell the puzzles correctly.
Well, you'll be fine because I'm sure they give you the answers.
I hope so. If they haven't in the past, we need a new program.
Yeah.
We need a new routine.
I mean, I just feel like they need to know what your strengths are versus, because people don't think that you have any weaknesses, but I know that spelling is a weakness.
Yeah.
I too have the same weakness. That's why I'm saying, like, the thought, like when I watch Vanna touch the letters, even when they light up, I know I would not be able to do that because it would not, it just doesn't compute to me. Even when all of the puzzle is spelled out,
solved,
I still don't know what it says. I need a minute.
Right.
I need a beat.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. No, so you don't want to. You wouldn't want to do that.
No.
If there were a personal.
No.
Okay.
No. But I would love to come and watch you film it.
Spell.
I just want to be in the audience one day. Like, that would be fun. There is an audience, right?
Yeah, there is an audience.
And how many days a week do you shoot this? Because I always heard that you shoot the whole season in 10 days.
It's not that. It's tens of days, but there are multiple shows in a shoot day. And so the way that they've done it in the past is they'll shoot maybe 6 shows in a day, several times in the month. But we haven't determined how we're going to do it yet.
It's great though. I think it's going to be a divine schedule. Where will you shoot it?
It'll be in Los Angeles. Right?
A hop,
Back in my neighborhood.
a hop, skip, and a jump from the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Right, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
From that sliced meat buffet.
When are you starting the new season of American Idol?
We just started a few days ago.
Okay.
We started auditioning contestants. We went to Leesburg, Georgia, Kelly, where Luke Bryan is from.
Oh.
And we auditioned contestants in his high school. We're also going to Lionel Richie and Katy Perry's hometowns.
So you're going to all their hometowns. Oh,
all their hometowns,
fascinating.
where they'll host us for a hometown dinner, and then we'll audition contestants. And, I was thinking about, I saw some of the contestants the other day, and it's always so interesting, this part of the process, because, they come back to Hollywood, they're on their stage, you've watched, your family's watched for years, and they're sort of slick, right? When they get to the stage, they're dressed up, they've performed a lot, it works.
Yeah.
But at this stage, we're just meeting them, and it's so interesting to hear how people got into music, or how it did something for them, or how it was therapy for them, or how, their parents got them into it, and their mom is standing there, and they've been waiting for this moment their entire life. There is something really exciting about that for me. And every year you have a new batch of families that show up, that bring their cousins and their aunts and their uncles to stand outside the door and hope that their child or the person in their family gets that ticket. I mean, that really, this stage is cool for that reason.
And it's the one talent show, there have been so many ripoffs of American Idol across all the networks. They all have their own version of American Idol. But American Idol actually launches careers. Careers are launched and made, and people become stars. They become actual stars with a real career in music.
You don't have to win either, right? That's the thing with Idol. Even if you don't, it doesn't matter.
Sometimes it's
Maybe
better
great.
if you don't win. Sometimes the not winning is really winning.
The timing of the not winning. Exactly. We've seen that with Adam Lambert, and we've seen that with all kinds of contestants.
Hey, whatever happened to Dunkelman? Hey, whatever happened to Dunkelman?
I don't know. But we did work together for the first season.
Yeah, and then he vanished.
He came back. Actually, he came back and was part of one of the finales. We had a good time. He came back and presented with me for one of the finales.
Is he still in the show business or in the show business? What am I, my father?
I don't know. I don't know if he's in the show business. I don't know. I just saw him a few years ago, but not since.
Now, Katy Perry sold her music library for $225 million.
I read it.
Did you confirm or deny? Did you in fact buy it?
I did. I did not buy it. I did not. Let me bust up that rumor now. That was not my purchase. I am not shopping for a music catalog. But I did. I saw that and I thought, well, congratulations.
Yeah.
I've not talked to her about that, but she seems happy.
Well, give me the dynamic backstage between the 3 judges. Now, do they keep you, because you're sort of you're in charge, right? You're the guy. You are American Idol. There have been many varieties of judges. I've loved all of them. If I'm being honest, I loved, the original judges. I loved when they transitioned to other judges. I loved the Ellen DeGeneres year. And I love these 3 judges. I think that Luke and Katie and Lionel are probably my 3 favorites of all time. What is the dynamic? Are you like dad? Are they like 3 fighting children?
No, there is no elder statesman or dad component to it. I think that the 3 of them have now done it, I don't know, 7 years. They really have. They've embodied the show, right? They are the show, and their personalities and their demeanor and the things that they want in terms of the contestants and the positive reinforcement they give. That is American Idol now. They've evolved it to be a different show, and that's them. I mean, that's the force of them, and they do really, really get along, respect, hang out, make each other laugh. It's a fun set. I mean, we've all known shows that it's more just business. You come, you do the show. There's interaction on camera, and everybody moves on. This is not that show. This is a set where everybody does like the job, love the job, and does love doing it together.
I like to think like that show also, it's not that long of a season where it becomes unbearable because I would think hosting a show and flying around the country and judging all of those contestants would grind you down if it was a longer season. Like I feel like it used to be a much longer season. The original.
It was a longer season. The original was a longer season, and it was twice a week. I mean, we're twice a week for some of the season, but it was twice a week every single time. And we would go to 12 cities.
Right.
We were in a lot. Now it's fewer cities, and it's a bit of a shorter season, but it's a happy set, right?
Yes.
It's a happy set.
It makes all the difference in the world. So what about the Kardashians? What is your involvement in that show still?
So now I don't do much of anything. You know, I talk to them every once in a while. The show, when we put it on E, was one phase of the series, and now it's gone over to Hulu, and it's in autopilot for me.
Right. So, but they have to pay you a fortune. Am I right?
No.
Oh, come on.
No. Well, the show makes a lot of money, but they also, when you break down and look at the different businesses that all of them have individually, collectively, it's an incredible study of marketing and business. It really is. And you know, we've had them on before, and you've met Chris, and we've talked about this too. This is something that they all wanted to do. Yeah. They wanted to have the family on television. They wanted to be vulnerable on TV. They wanted the cameras around, and they committed to it.
Isn't that amazing?
They surrendered to it and committed to it. It's something you and I could never do.
Never. Oh my God. Well, first of all,
it's something we could never do.
First of all, I think I'm going to speak for myself, but I'm also going to speak for both of us. I think if you put cameras in our houses, it would be like watching paint dry. I mean,
it'd be like a screensaver, right? It'd be like the screensaver you see on Apple.
Did my TV freeze?
Did it freeze?
Yeah, because not a lot goes.
Not a lot of excitement.
Not a lot of excitement. There's not a lot of even when the kids are home, and it should be like our kids are not very dramatic.
Not interesting at all.
You making a green smoothie.
Not interesting.
Not interesting. Me
telling you about it. Looking at
me reading a book in the corner, not interesting. I mean, literally, that's the big night, you know. And then Gelman will say, what'd you guys do last night? And I look at him and I go, nothing. What do you think we did? Don't worry. We'll come up with something.
We'll come up with something in the next 5 minutes. Don't worry. Don't stress, Gelman.
You know, can you tell our listeners, because here's what I found out. The listeners of our podcast don't necessarily watch the talk show. Isn't that funny? It's like a whole different.
I wonder.
It's a whole different group of people. Yeah.
You should try and leverage a moment here to push one or two over to the talk show at the end.
Well, I'm constantly.
You should plug the show.
Constantly
live with Kelly and Mark weekdays. Check your local listing.
I'm cross-pollinating constantly, Ryan. Listen, if you would tell our audience this. I don't know if you will, so this is why I'm saying if. You once told on our talk show a very funny story about being at Kris Jenner's house and clogging her toilet. And I was wondering if you would tell our podcast listeners with the same zeal and zest and
I don't think I can recreate the same. Jan, you probably know it better. I was in the powder room. The toilet was, it was contemporary,
it was black,
and it was a
black,
all black toilet. And, there are cameras in the house I was in. I think I know where they are. I don't think that they're in the bathroom, but it is in your head.
They wouldn't put them in the bathroom.
No, they
would be
wouldn't.
Against every
that
law.
would be crazy. But, right. Well, it is their private home, but they are in some of the common areas. Anyway, so I was there, and I rushed over and did what I needed to do, and found that the toilet paper was put where it needed to be put, and the water level began to rise, and I clogged the toilet. But I don't think it overflowed. It got up to the seat level. I panicked, I sweat, and then it began to settle down, but I quickly got out.
No, but you had to retrieve your. You wanted to retrieve what you put in there out of there.
Well, I mean, Kelly, this is only for TV. That's fine.
Only a TV.
Ryan.
It's much.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was a ladle involved.
You may have.
There was a
you may
ladle. It
have
wasn't
had
a
to-
ladle. It was the toilet. It was the toilet ring cleaner.
The toilet ring cleaner.
I used. It was a utensil that was convenient in the
He
toilet.
MacGyvered a
Wasn't a
ladle out
ladle.
of the toilet.
What do you think? I had a ladle. I'm walking around with my Swiss Army knife, pulling out the ladle. It was the toilet.
It
ring
is like
cleaner.
because it's one. I think everybody's had that moment in their lives. Like it's one
Were you at someone's house?
Yeah, because I remember you before you started the talk show. I was like, there's going to be times where you're called upon to tell very personal stories, and like I just wanted to give you a heads up of what it is like. And you were like, well, I'm very private. I'm very private. I'm very private. And truly, like within 6 months, you were like, and then did I ever tell you the time I went to the bathroom and Chris
I mean, it's because you're like every day you need 20 minutes of something, right? At some point, the walls just come down and you're like, I'm going to tell you everything about me. I'm not holding anything back. Do you know, there's something though, Kelly, for those who don't watch or do watch, there is something very comfortable about that set, those stools, that one camera in front of us that makes you feel, honestly,
like you're home.
Like there's no one watching.
know.
Like you'll say something, you'll tell a story, and then we'll forget.
Yep.
But someone will remember, and then 3 days later, they'll remind you of it in the wild.
Oh, yeah.
And you think, gosh, why and how did I do that?
I can't believe I said that on live TV.
I can't believe I said. I mean, that's been your life for how many? 20 what?
23 years.
But I get it. I understand why. It makes sense.
Well,
It's
I don't know.
It's a blessing to be in. It's a blessing to be in people's homes every day. It's fun. You connect, right?
Yeah, it is. It's fun. You know how it is. Tell me about what is it? Your 13th Seacrest studio?
This is so exciting. Yes, we
You
just
just
opened at
opened it,
Cohen
right?
Children's Medical Center. Yeah,
Amazing.
in Queens.
Amazing.
13 of these media centers, which we've talked about. Yeah, it's a podcast studio. It's a sound stage. It's a set. It's everything that patients can use, state of the art equipment where they can come in and create their own content.
Yeah.
I was telling you that the kids over the year created over 530 unique shows for other patients. So they're forgetting about their treatments. They're laughing and they're smiling, and different artists, famous singers come by and perform with them. So this has been my sister Meredith, my mom, my dad. As you know, we all work together on this. And this has been so cool to see it work, right? We started with Atlanta studio, but to see the patients and the doctors say that it helps with the healing
Of course.
has been great. So we're doing 14, Kelly, in Salt Lake City.
Oh,
in December.
amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
Did you read the book Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow?
No. Tell
I'm
me.
going to send it to you because I think it starts out in a children's wing of a hospital and what happens to these kids when they grow up. And it's good. It's sort of like before there was a Seacrest studio, these kids
Yeah.
would go to the video game room. But it's what happens to these kids as when they go through all of their lives.
When they grow up.
And it's very interesting. And
I would love that.
I think it'll speak to you. Now that you have your niece, who's almost 5 years old, Flora, when you visit the hospitals now, I'm certain that it hits differently.
It does.
Yeah.
It
Is
does.
there a memory that stands out?
I am emotional anyway, right? Like when you talk, would you say anything to me, or
Well, I can see
you
it
look
right
at me
now.
and say
I
something
can see
heartfelt?
it right now.
Right. Like I am an emotional person. It's very difficult for me also to give heartfelt talks or speeches because I sort of can get that way. But there are two stories. You know, one was there's a little boy, he's like 8 or 9 years old, that had to get up and go to get treatment on a regular basis at one of the pediatric hospitals. And he would fight with his mom, didn't want to go. It was the worst thing, right? He didn't want to go for his treatment, but he had to do it. And he had to keep doing it. And he knew what he was in for when he went. We put one of the studios into that hospital, and he was introduced to it. And he got in there, and he met some famous people that came by, and he started to learn an instrument in the studio. He met friends there. He connected with people. They would set times to meet when he would come in, before or after his treatment. And as time went on, he started asking his parents, when do I get my next treatment? I can't wait to go see my friends. And it changed the whole experience for not only him, but the parents as well.
Of course.
Because it's hard on everyone. And
Because the
he
parents
actually enjoyed
the parents
being
would
there.
the parents would gladly trade places with their kid if they could. but they
If they
can't.
could. Yeah.
So it's the
Yeah.
double torture. It's
Yeah.
the watching your child be tortured, knowing that you would give anything to take their place.
Well, and so think about that. What's happening in those
Mm-hmm.
rooms, in those treatment rooms, hard stuff. And in the same moment later that day to go down to the studio and laugh,
Yeah.
right? To laugh and have fun.
Just to
and-
change the whole
and forget about it.
change the whole perception of treatment
Mm-hmm.
and how scary it is and isolating it is to
Exactly.
a social, like it's made so tolerable because you're going to have this great time, this great experience, this social companionship with your peers and friends and people that are interesting. Like it just really it makes a dire situation so much more manageable for the whole family.
It changes the
Yeah.
experience. Exactly.
It's a very big deal. So,
Thank you.
Do you ever contemplate, Ryan? We're going to take it full circle. Do you ever contemplate retiring? Do you ever contemplate retiring? Because I contemplate it constantly.
I actually, when I know you do. And where are you on that? How's that
I'm
going?
so close.
It seems like, are you? Because it seems like you keep adding things, adding responsibilities.
I add things because, obviously retiring, what does that mean, right? So
Yeah.
I'm adding a layer of responsibility so that if I shed one job, I still have something that makes me feel like
Framework.
I'm rooted in a professional space.
I think we both need that.
Because I know me,
Right.
I can go from Kelly with the production company and the jobs to Kelly on the show alone, where I'm forging in the forest, whittling wood and building my own cabin. Like I can go from here to there very quickly. So I have to keep my foot in something.
I agree with that, and I feel the same way. I think to myself, oh my gosh, yes, I could stop and do nothing, go play with the olives, and be happy every single day without any sort of duty responsibility in media.
Right.
I mean, I actually think that would be fine. But I do like, and we do love what we do.
Uh-huh.
The thing that I think it's less about retirement, and it's more about controlling our schedule so that we have the ability to do the things that we want to do in life and some flexibility.
Correct.
You know,
That's really
And
it's a
I-
time management portion.
It's time management.
Time management is everything,
Mm-hmm.
because they're not making more time. They're not making.
It's
And
true.
we really I feel like we toil. Both of us. I'll put us both together in this. We toiled away like the young, fun years. Like we were really toiling away. I mean, you were working, I was raising my kids and really keeping our noses to the grindstone when like a lot of our friends were having fun and like
Right.
doing fun things
It was-
and going away for the whole summer and we were toiling away. And so
but I wouldn't have had it any other
No,
way.
of
Like I
course not,
really think that's who we
that's
are.
who we
right?
are. Yes.
I've always also felt guilt.
Yeah. Of course.
Not saying yes
working.
to everything, not doing
right.
everything, not working, not working on Saturday. There was a time I was working on the weekends always, right?
Yeah.
Because I could, and if I didn't, what would happen?
Us too. We were trying to explain that to our kids that we used to work 7 days a week and they were
Right.
not fathoming what we were talking about. And I said, we would work during the week and then we would go to these different signings that the show would send us to. It's same as you. It's like you worked 7 days a week. There wasn't really a weekend day. There was just the weekend job.
And then, we were doing things that we absolutely couldn't believe we were doing.
exactly.
Right? We were, and still, right? Still. Like,
And don't you feel though that any one of your job, like when I look at you and I'm like, well, any one of his job would be anybody else's job, like their full-time job. Like if they're hosting American Idol, I host American Idol. That's my job. Or I host, I'm a radio DJ. That's my job. Or I host Wheel of Fortune. That's my job. Or I am an olive milker. That's my job.
I'm a farmer.
So you
Right.
have all of these jobs as your job, but at the same time, you're like, I got to figure out a way where I can, maybe carve one thing out so I have more time to milk my
But
olives.
I feel like the combination of the ones that I have
Yeah, they're
now allow
manageable.
for it.
Yeah.
They're manageable.
Yeah.
They're in a way that allows you to have, some time to do some of the other fun stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Before we let you go.
Our listeners have questions.
Oh my gosh, our listeners have questions. Yes. So we have, this is called the Ask Kelly segment of the show. I can tell Ryan's very familiar with this podcast because he's
Yeah.
looking at me like,
about?
Jesus
But I think-
Christ, you said it would be 20 minutes.
I think these are these Jan's questions or
No,
these are
these
listeners?
are questions
Got it,
from
okay.
viewers.
All right.
Stop. We ask
Listeners.
our viewers. We ask our listeners to send us questions, and we asked specifically for questions for you. So will you stick around for this? Okay.
Yeah, are you taking a break or we're doing it now?
No. Play the jingle.
It's time for Ask Kelly.
Oh. I like the production. High production value.
High production value.
So Jan, you go first.
Okay. From Rocco Rena 1, Ryan, I will be 50 this December and you'll be 50 next December. What is one thing you're looking forward to in your 50s and what's one thing you won't care about anymore?
We're looking forward to, I guess, just being there because all of the talk around becoming 50 is about becoming 50. What are you going to do for your 50? What's it going to be like when you're 50? How are you going to look at life differently when you're 50? All that stuff. So all that chatter will be done. And I think I'll probably be a little bit more relaxed. I mean, Kelly, I watched you go through it and you said it's like the greatest. Right? I think
Life
things
begins
just
at-
feel different.
Yeah.
Life begins at
Yes,
50.
it does.
So I think life, I feel the same way. Rocco, thank you.
Albert wants to know, will you be hosting a 50th birthday party with Colin
we all
Cowie?
invited.
I don't know what I should do.
Okay.
I think something small, but it will definitely Albert, it'll definitely be food
Will
centric.
sardines be involved?
Oh my God.
100% Portuguese sardines.
Portuguese
Come on.
What's the matter with you?
Yes.
How dare you offend him that
How
way?
dare you even think there's no tin fish at this event?
Last
From
question.
Joe Dunbar. What are some
Joe Dunbar.
What are some of the biggest lessons you learned from your time hosting live?
Oh my God.
I think some of the biggest lessons I learned from my time hosting live, I really think I developed a little bit more of a sense of humor for things, right? Like
You have to.
You kind of have to. I think you have to look at after doing that show for a few months and a year and going into more time there, you just learn to laugh at things a little bit more, things that might have broken you in the past. You just really look them in the eye and laugh. It's the only thing you can do. And I don't know that I would have done, honestly, Cal, I don't know that I would have done that with certain things in life had I not lived it there.
Yeah, exactly. But
Don't you feel the same?
It is as advertised, no?
But it's I remember little things that I would go, Cal, shouldn't that be that way? And you just laugh.
Yeah, I was like,
right? You would just laugh.
I was like, oh,
You're
you want a clock that works? Good luck.
Yeah, you want to fix the system here? Okay. Ha ha ha. And then come year 2, I would just laugh at the fact that that Gelman stood in front of the clock.
Imagine my surprise.
We got a clock, and then he stood in front of it
Imagine my
every day.
surprise, Ryan, when I learned that there was a clock behind Gelman. I mean, who knew?
I was so excited about that clock.
Well, he still stands in front of it.
Right.
Unfortunately,
Although
Mark and I don't ever refer to it at all. We don't care about time cues.
you don't care about time cues. I know. But that's great. So I think that sense of humor, I definitely developed more being there.
I've got to tell you that it's just been, it was a joy to have you there every day. Nobody made us laugh more. Honestly, just watching you sort of discover yourself on TV because you're so used to featuring other people. We really enjoyed featuring you, and it was a great privilege. We had so much fun with you. And guess what? We just had as much fun with you on this podcast as we've ever had with anyone.
Thank you.
So thank you for taking time for us. I know you're starting your radio show in 8 seconds.
I'm going to say to Tanya Rad all the things you just told me, so that'll be part of our show
Yes.
today.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you for the content. You know how much I really respect, love, and appreciate who you are for me.
Well,
And who you've been and who you are and who you continue to be.
It's-
Now I'm going to literally
no, it's
tear up
very
saying
mutual. Stop crying.
I know.
I love you. I admire you. I respect you. I can't wait to watch you learn how to spell when you take over Wheel of Fortune as the host and ringleader of that show. And I look forward to this season of American Idol. And of course, I will continue to listen to you on air with Ryan Seacrest.
Thank you. Thank you, Albert. Thank you, Jen. Thank
Love
you, Kelly
babe.
Ripa.
Bye.
Bye. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you. This is a fun gig, right? You should do this forever.
It's so easy.
This is all you want to do.
Oh my God, it's so easy.
All right.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Love you too, honey. Bye. That was fun.
That was fun.
That was great.
That was the legend himself, Ryan Seacrest.
Yep.
My gosh. I hope you're satisfied with this show. And if you aren't, there's really nothing we can do about it now. But there's always next week, so I can't wait to talk off camera with you next week again. Bye. Let's Talk Off Camera with Kelly Ripa is a co-production of Melojo Productions and PRX Productions with help from Goat Rodeo. Our theme song is Follow Me from APM Music. From Melojo, our team is Kelly Ripa, Mark Consuelos, Albert Bianchini, Jan Chalet, Devin Schneider, Michael Halpern, Jacob Small, Roz Therian, Seth Gronquist, and Julia Desch. From PRX Productions, our team is Kara Schillen, Genevieve Sponsler, Megan Nadolski, Max Johnston, Edwin Ochoa. Additional sound design by Terrence Bernardo. The executive producer of PRX Productions is Jocelyn Gonzalez. This show is powered by Stitcher.
From PRX.